What's up, everybody? Eurotech Matt, Autotech Matt. It depends on who you are, where you are, and how you follow us as to how you know us. Just wanted to show everybody a little bit of what this tiny roll cart looks like and the reasoning for possibly getting a bigger one. This is just some of the tools I would have in here on a small job. Sparkplugs, Coilpacks, all sorts of gaskets and seals and a mix of it. And that's just basically what we're going to use, as well as what's in the box. Stay tuned. Alright, now of course before we dive on into motor work, any sort, always wear some PPE, personal protection equipment, gloves, whatever. Yes, it is just some tiny work here. We're not taking the valve covers off or anything, but you never want contamination of fluids. In the video today, we will be having my boy. He's going to watch and learn, as well as y'all. Stay tuned. Alright folks, here we have it. Small list of parts for today. Now, when it comes to doing things that you don't have to do, but it's, typical maintenance, and we're at 140,000 miles. We got the car. It was just under 100,000 miles, so we put almost 40-some thousand, almost 42,000, I think, at this point on the car. We're going to start updating the fuel system and everything, ignition, coils, etc. So it doesn't need to be fancy parts store stuff. A gasket is a gasket at the end of the day. A seal is a seal. So we've got a little bit of everything here for the intake. And some extra gaskets. And a seal. I'm not big on having everything in like this, but that's how it came, so there it is. This stuff will be for another day. We have a dual climate control actuator for the passenger side, and then front driver and passenger wheel speed sensors. So make sure you like and subscribe. There will be a video below soon of the replacement of this stuff. So until then, stay tuned, y'all. Now the wife doesn't know that I went to fancy up her car. I just kind of told her I was going to do some updates to it. Nothing fancy, nothing's changed, nothing is different. This is OE replacement part, just with a dress on. Yeah, I know, stupid. Autotech Matt, Eurotech Matt, why would you do that? Because it's the wife, it's the little things, She opens her hood and checks her oil and antifreeze and power steering fluid and make sure her air box is clean, etc. Make it look good when she's under here. It's the least we could do. Happy wife, happy life. Some of you can learn, some of you can relate. Yes, I'm not an old man, but the sooner you learn that, the better. Believe me. So we're going to go ahead and undress all these dressed up coil packs and these NGK Iridium spark plugs, and we'll get them in. Stay tuned. Yes, put them on top of the box for me, please. That's right, buddy. Sparkplugs. Good job.
We're not Sparkplugs.
Alright, folks. Now we got everything unboxed, unbagged, and untagged. Let's tear into it. I'm not going to be prejudiced or whatever. It depends on who you are and where you are and what you're working with, but I just start by doing the easiest first, of course, and unhooking everything that may or may not be needed. I'm going to stick with the 3/8 gun. All 3/8 power. All 3/8 power today.
Well, yeah.
Now these here clips, whatever you want to say, they have a slight spin lock on them, so you have to push it down to spin it out of place. I guess that kind of just locks everything where it needs to be, whatever. It really doesn't matter how tight or how loose it is, or where you start. These here plastic clamps, you want to push in a little. Slide that white tab over without breaking it off, and then just slightly pull back. Usually you can get away with swinging this up out of your way, but for today, for purposes of the video, we're just going to simply remove it like that and set it off to the side. Now it's depends on who you are as to how you feel about it, but I always keep some spare things around to simply spare shop rags around simply to plug up holes like this. Take it and fold it down over the hole so you can see it. Won't forget about it. Perfect. This don't matter because it is going to come out. Sometimes it gets stiff and weathered or heat shrunk. Other times not. This one's been off a few times, so it's not that hard to get off. That's popped off. Start with popping the front of the air and intake boot off. Reach back here, pop the back half off, and there you go. Your box breather intake boot is off. Whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. It's off, out of the way. Looks like we have some more 8mm. It would be 4 8mm holding the electronic throttle body on. Them fancy red plastic locking tabs we all love so much. They are a real bugger to get out sometimes. Yall electrical disconnect pliers. Sometimes I can't live without them in those situations like that. My hands just don't want to work with me. I really love this, I think it's a CT861 brushless 3/8 with the toggle switch, 14.4 volt by Snap-on. Really love it for tearing down things when you just don't want too much back power or too much torque from the 18 volt. Perfect for tearing things down like this, kind of quick in a hurry and not trying to destroy everything. So it looks like they sent us with everything but a new gasket for that. So we won't moan and groan about that. We'll start with sliding these little red clips off, the electrical connectors. Usually they come off pretty easy off the Coilpacks here. I always push up a little bit and then push down on your release tab before pulling backwards. It just helps get you up past that little nipple there that holds it in. No, I'm not taking these out. Just simply going to loosen all the bolts. Come back here. It looks like you do not have to take your coil and return line off there. Well, looks like you can pop all them out with one of these here fancy little clip removers. There's one. There's two. What you getting at there, buddy? Sometimes it will fight with you a little. They do get weathered as they sit right here on top of the motor. There we go. There's all three of them out. Looks like we have an 8mm bolt back here, just holding that little bracket on. Again, for quick teardown scenarios like such, this is really handy to have. As well as the part number mag tray. And then this is mag tray R. Just a 10x10 flexible magnetic parts tray with 9 magnets in it. It sits flat, or you can snap the corners together like such, and it becomes a nice parts tray.
Oh no.
That's off. Looks like we may have a few electric connections back there, but we'll see more once we get everything lifted up. Pop this breather line off. Very careful with these because they do break nice and easy. If you want to be better safe than sorry, I'd always say. Again, anything you're unhooking, push in a little bit, push that yellow tab inward and pull it back off. Just goes right over here around the firewall and under this front brace. And then you can pop that back side off. And it comes out in one piece just like that. This one I always sit up here so I'm not breaking it with anything. It's a little more expensive line than your breather hose for the valve cover. But here nor there, now we can comfortably dive into it. Looks like that should be most of them. Oh, Daddy should have came around this side. Would have seen this one here. Yep, I've seen it lift a little. Now this is where the mechanic's best friend comes into play. Do you need one? No. Is it good to have one? Always. My boy, I'm pretty sure, walked off with mine. So, we do have one more there, and to lift this off of here, just like such. One more little push pin type deal here. Always helps to lift that up and off. Now again, it's not hard, but these things do weather and break periodically and very easily. No big deal whatsoever. It does nothing but holds this part of the wiring harness right down over the valve cover stud there. Then we can comfortably get back in here. Pop that up and off. Looks like that one just kind of broke. It is what it is. It happens more often than not. But now we can comfortably get to that last bolt there. And take it out. Now, if you're not real familiar with what you're doing, this is what I'm trying to help you with. Save you a couple bucks. You don't got to send it to the garage and get a $400 bill when, you know, it's $65 in parts. A little bit of time and your own personal labor, and you can do this yourself. Anybody can. And that's why I'm here, to try and show you that. Get my handy dandy light here. that breathing hose at the back there, whatever you may want to call it. Just simply get your fancy pliers. Let me see that thing going. That was the one Daddy was using. We'll keep that out over here. Right. Use it. Fancy hose clamp pliers. Anywho, get them on back in there. Over that hose clamp, which is kind of backwards. I don't know how, but the hose clamp is most definitely backwards. I'm not sure. We might have to get some pliers back there on that. Let's see what we can do here once. And again, this is why I'm doing this video. It's not always easy. It may not be fun. But, you know, you can save yourself some money. It does not have to be done by the professionals, is what I'm getting at there. So, that is 2 Taurus screws. Looks like they're 25s or 27s. We're going to go ahead and spin that out once quick. My guess is going to be a 25. So we'll just go ahead and spin this whole sensor. It looks like it's a sensor. We'll just take it out once. There's one screw. Oof, oof, oof. Okay guys, we're going to do a little bit of a demonstration in this video as well. It's starting to strip out that bolt. Stay tuned here. Now, as I said, we're going to do a slight demonstration here. We got the Grip Edge RPT 14-piece Torx driver. They are a bi-directional drive, so you can ultimately, well, we are, because we're going to demonstrate it right now, take that messed up fastener out. It was a T27, I believe. Probably why my 1/4-inch adapter is close to being junk, because I kind of bend it and just pull my sockets off. There it is, you see it. All the metal shavings there from stripping. If I can, I will get you in there and show you the bolt here in a second. For now, we're going to show you the RPT sockets. See if I can get them to focus. It's not wanting to, but check it out, y'all. So it is kind of hard to see. There's the top bolt. We got that one out, of course. The bottom one, kind of hard when I get in front of the light, but yeah, it's practically rounded out, even though it doesn't look like it. It has some form there, but no, it started to round out them fins on the inside of that Torx. So let's see what RPT can do. Forgive me, as this is going to be a little hard on this weird angle with one hand, but there you see it. We got the RPT socket. Just got to figure out how to get my floppy attachment here to work with me. Let's stay tuned, y'all. Alright, so as I was saying, that's not working out one-handed, so as you see, we have our Grip Edge RPT socket, 27, well, T27. You're gonna wiggle and jiggle it in here and get it seated in this hole it's supposed to be in. And see what it does. Yeah. It brought it right out, guys. So this is still resembling a Taurus, but you can see it was stripping out with the standard Taurus. And the RPT Taurus, a bit fast. I could turn that both ways and it is biting fast both ways. So there's going to be a link below, of course. Grip Edge Tools, y'all. You got to check them out. Now, without further ado, we're going to keep moving forward. And just to show you, and I'm not bluffing, I'm going to clean that stuff off there. There's your standard regular Taurus. It actually was starting to really wear on the end there. You can take that, stuff it in there, close that up and toss it off to the side, of course. There's your Grip Edge RPT T27 Taurus. We're going to leave it on there and put them bolts back in. No, this is not completely junk, so we're going to reuse it. As you can see, somebody was in there before. No, that's not the right one, is it? No. Anywho. That one's nice and got its points there. Almost looks like a Taurus Plus. And that one's about rounded out. Yeah, you see it. Anywho. Now we should be able to pop this here out. Just a smidgen. Looks like they may have sent us a new gasket for that, but I'm not sure. So, let's see if that 8mm's got to come out. Looks like it very well could be a some sort of... Oh, it's just a bracket. That's all it is, really. Yeah, just a bracket. Does not look like it's the 8mm though. Or maybe it's 8mm. Okay, that's always a plus, you're not losing them. Okay, that's all loose. Everything feels loose. Looks like we have something holding us up in this area. We move some things around. Looks like we have another 8, maybe a 10mm mounting screw down here, right below where the throttle body would bolt in. Run that screw out as well. Get it out of the way. Right above it here in the back, looks like we have about a 6 or an 8-inch tube, some sort of breathing tube, I'm sure. Get your trusty handy dandy hose clamp pliers out and spin that hose clamp off. Oof. Come on, hose clamp pliers. Don't make me have to buy new ones. I might end up making a mistake and getting snap-on. They are stretching, which is why this set, you will see once you look it up, it comes with a little, a cute little thing that cuts your line here, and then you can just clip it back on your line to make it shorter, which ultimately makes this tighter. So, without further ado, we're going to go with our trusty Knipex 8701-125 is the part number on them bad boys. You can find them on Amazon. And I will post a link for the 3-piece set that I have in my toolbox below. It is an Amazon link. I'm not sure what it costs nowadays for this set, but I paid like $67 or something astronomically cheap for it when I bought it. Oof, we're tossing stuff. Get under that line. Get it wiggled loose a little. And then pull it off. Tuck it back behind. That ultimately should be all we need to move to get this out of here. So, alright. There's a whole bunch of gaskets we're going to be replacing. I think we have one to replace pop in there. And they did not send us a new gasket for the throttle body. I'm not sure why, but we'll deal with that when the time comes. For now, though, just going to take our cute little inspection light. Be very tedious over everything. We're going to simply check stuff out, whether we do or don't know what it is and what it does. Just go ahead and check it out. Look around in your motor, you'll see what's what. If anything looks unusually off, now would be your time to bring it to the attention of somebody that might be more technologically advanced, etc. If you don't feel like tackling it yourself. A big problem with these Fords here, these 3.5 motors, is you got a coolant pipe running under, well, in the V section of your motor under the intake, and it is a bear to replace when it goes out. My wife's is starting to go out because it leaks a little bit of coolant down in there and it makes it look almost like it's oily. So that's not what we're here for. We're here for plugs and coils. I do want to replace them oxygen sensors. Looks like somebody had went ahead and replaced the bottom two or the top two. I'm not sure. Two of them are blue and 2 of them are black. So I would imagine the blue ones are OE replacements or some sort of replacement, and the black are stock. But there they are. I wish I had them now because I would replace them, but I don't. So it is what it is. We are just going to go ahead and continue right along with what we was doing. Reach back here and pop these little red safety tabs off or down. Now I'm big on this once again. To each their own, you don't have to, but I am simply going to tear this here napkin or shop towel in half. And lay it right down over the open part of the motor. To each their own, that is. To each their own. I prefer safety. Not that there's anything going to destroy us right there, but in the event of an accident, you always want to be, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Just going to set something simple like a 1/4 inch by 10 or a 12-inch extension on it to hold them paper towels down, and then continue with my work. Again, not needed, but Lyle disconnect pliers really helps for these old stubborn / corroded connectors, just like that. That one just busted on me. Didn't even have to try, and it broke. That one is weathered and already broke, but let's see what it does. Yep, that one broke too. That's why they have the red safety tabs on them. That way, even if it does slightly break like that, you can still close your tab ultimately and lock it down in. Yep, that one just busted with my finger without a problem. You take them and kind of fold them back off to the side. They are a little stiff. If you had something to spray on them to ease that up a little, you ultimately could. Now, we're not going to go crazy. It is always on hand. You know, you can probably get them off Amazon or something, but Flexzilla, wonderful air hoses. Just going to lightly spray a little air around them Coilpacks to loosen up any sort of dirt that could be there. Can we get our gun in there? Nope. We're just going to go straight to a ratchet. And that is why we have the 1/4 inch, so we're not going crazy. I thought I had an 8mm and a swivel. I guess not. We'll just put a super long 8 so we can clear over top of everything. Oh, excuse me. Maybe a super long 8 will not work right there. So we'll go with a semi-deep, see what that does. Nope. Just going to go with a wee little shallow socket. Now that's all further we're going to go with that. Set that off to the side. These are not hard to get out by hand once you break them free. Ultimately, they are just here to hold your coil pack in place so it doesn't pop out. Go ahead and zing these ones out here in the front. This is, again, another reason I love the CT861, I believe it is. Find it on Snap-on's page. It really helps with taking these out. Again, your Lyle striking pry bar, if I haven't showed you them, if you haven't seen the shorts and the videos, the review, they are pretty superior to the Snap-ons. You see the girthiness there. And that bend, how uniform it is, I guess you want to say, how perfectly rolled it is. Every time it works perfect for this type of stuff right here. Pop them Coilpacks out, even though they're nothing crazy in there. Now, a little drop of oil kind of excited me there for a second, but it could just be a drop of oil from opening the transmission dipstick fluid check, whatever you want to say, dipstick tube, or it could be from filling the car with oil. Always have that one drop that disappears when you lift that oil jug up, and you never know where it goes. So that coil pack does not look to be in bad shape, but we have new ones, so we're not messing with nothing that appears to be okay. We're just going with new ones. And the biggest thing you're looking for, since that's way back there, it's a V-Series motor, it's sitting sideways, V-style, V-Series, whatever. Biggest thing you're looking at when you pull these out, make sure there's no oil on the end of them. If you got oil on the end of them, you have a slight problem, as in valve cover leak or a gasket is going bad. Other than that, you should be good. That one's a little stiff. Yep, they all look good. Holes look great. Clean my hands off back here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the trusty best friend. Mechanic's trusty best friend, it always is, always will be. As well as a neat little light, which we might not even need. Clean, clean, clean. They all have orange tips on them, which tells me ultimately they should all be the same spark plug. Now, this is the fun part. Sorry, I had to get a drink, and I ran over to grab a SEL quick, washer, seal, whatever. Just to get a good idea as to the size of that one there before we go about doing everything else. Just gonna go ahead and pop that off. Trying not to let it fall down in where my spark plugs go. So it is a really close size, but it's not the right size. So stay tuned and I'm going to go find one quick. Alright guys, we're back. Went over and just decided to bring this over and show y'all. If you don't have it, this is your metric O-ring assortment kit. Power tool, performance tool. I guess it's performance tool W5203. This is from my local AutoZone store. I have a metric and a standard set, and this right here is the R21 3.5 millimeter seal. That is the seal it's supposed to fit right here. So we'll see what it looks like. It's a little loose, but ultimately, it just has to go into the back of the intake and seat in there and hold a good firm, I guess, barrier, whatever you may want to say. So without a doubt, that's there. The fun part comes, grab yourself, whether it be a swivel or an extra long 5/8. Excuse me. 5/8 spark plug socket. And I did grab my long 3/8 extension, but I'm not sure where I put it. So I'm going to just go with the short 3/8. Well, this size. And a ratchet, of course. That is always handy to have. Now I got Mac tools. I got a Mac tool set of spark plug sockets, I mean. I will show you here in 1 second. I just want to go ahead and bust it loose. Get my 3/8 out. Okay, we got it all out in one shot. Good deal. Wow. I'm not going to say it looks new. Well, you're going to see it. Now, although it is not junk and the car runs okay still, if you were to look at the, whatever they want to call it, the diode, the tip, that tip is no longer squared off. I can actually see it with the naked eye. It is round like a pinpoint. That's not supposed to be like that, folks. It is supposed to be squared off. And as you can see, it does look burnt here in the back. Kind of burnt, almost looks like it could be catching coolant, but I don't believe so because there's no leakage of that whatsoever. So my guess is these are original Motorcraft Platinum. The paste looks like it's been on there for a while, as it is a yellow color. So we're going to go ahead and toss them back in this. We're in this bag here as we take them out. That'll be the garbage bag. Cool. Onward. Now you can listen to whoever or whatever you may want, but there is no right or wrong answer as to how you can take these out of here. As long as they come out. Again, that one's looking the same way. A round tip to it and a little burnt. Now I'm just going to throw a short extension on there and see if I can actually get away with doing it this way. Save a little time. Nope, we're not going to be able to get that out like that. So I'm going to pop it off. Pull it out, check it out, whatever. We are going to look down in that hole because we do see a little, look at the last one I pulled out, dry all the way around. This one we just pulled out has some oil there. Even though it looked dry when we look down in it, we are going to inspect that one a little further here in a minute. The front always goes faster. Don't ask me why my battery ratchet likes to wobble the way it does. That one's got a little oil on the end of it as well. Nothing real alarming. That one has a wee little bit of oil on it as well. Nothing real alarming either. So we're just going to slightly carry on here. As I round up my extensions that I was using. Not sure where the long guy went, so we'll find that later upon cleanup. Now we can move the old ones out of the way. I will be checking them holes out with the naked eye, just to see what I can see. I guess we won't be doing that because my big head's not getting back there. So, I'm going to bring out the mirror again. The holes in the front, yeah, obviously you can look right into them. Nope. Nothing real alarming. Nothing alarming at all, should I say. I'm not your master tech, guys. This is a Ford. I'm not a Ford guy, but my wife somehow ends up buying Ford. This is the fourth one we've had. She's owned, whatever you want to say. It's the family car. It's a 2008 Ford Taurus Limited. It is a 3.5 liter. Looks all fancy and schmancy on the inside like a grandma grocery getter. Yeah, so find my box of handy dandy parts here, and we will start installing our new Sparkplugs. Just going to go right ahead and pop them down in the holes that they come out of, and these are pre-gap spark plugs, so there's nothing you got to do other than I think we're going to smear a little dash of Loctite on each one, or anti-seize, just because that's kind of how I roll. And when I say little, I mean like a little, nothing much at all. just a tiny dab of Loctite at the very top of the threads. I really like these Mac Tools spark plug sockets because of that knurling way up there at the tip. Really helps in this situation. Honestly, I probably could just be running it in through a battery ratchet. Save some time. There we go. I will come back through them, and I will tighten them all down by hand with the torque wrench. Do I have to? No, but I like to try and be as precise as possible when it comes to any vehicle. My own or customers, don't matter. And I mean just a dab of Loctite. Or anti-seize, I'm not sure why I keep saying Loctite, y'all. We don't want that on here. Not drop it down in the hole, but put it down in the hole. I'll usually give it a quarter or half backspin. Make sure it's in a proper groove, proper part of the thread, whatever you may want to say. Just till it gets to that point, and then we stop. And we'll continue moving on. We're one by one here. Just get that off of my gloves so I'm not smearing on me. Oh, look at that. Battery died. Well, battery on the light, should I say. Be a little more specific there. Give me 1 minute, folks. 1 minute, and I will throw the battery in the light there. And I believe I have one. We'll go ahead and use this. No, we'll use a 1/4 inch light battery, or 1/4 inch ratchet battery. Which looks like that's about that too. So we're going to have to plug in the back of the toolbox and get some power going. So, spark plug socket, another spark plug, and we'll keep moving forward, y'all. I know our battery ratchet was not seated completely on there. But that's why we went low and slow on the torque. Do I need to do this? Absolutely not. I don't. Do I like making sure stuff's good to go? Yeah. I guess I'm a little bit of an overachiever, if you would. Whatever. I'm not sure what you may want to say there, but yeah. Alrighty, guys. We're back. I am sorry about this awkward angle here. I hope you can see kind of as good as you were over here. Here nor there, my phone died, so we took a pause. I did finish getting the other spark plug in. I had torqued them all down. Sorry you missed that. That would have been a good part of the video to catch. But again, that's why we ask everybody to like and subscribe if it's any sort of use or a view of your entertainment, because it gives us the initiative to keep going, etc. So we got spark plugs in, torque down. We got never seize on them, thread locker, Loctite, whatever the heck you want to say. Yes, some call it overachieving. I call it just making sure everything's good to go for the next time I get down in here, which probably honestly will not be too long from now. We'll probably get some parts ordered here shortly after this video is done. And that'll be for another video. So until then, guys, we are going to start putting our new Coilpacks in. Doesn't hurt to always line them up beside the other ones before you put one in, or each one individually. I took them out in a synchronized order so I know. Another good thing that I always do, it does not hurt, is to have some dielectric grease. I hope that focused for you because I can't quite see now. I always take a little bit of dielectric grease. I will just simply squirt it in the end of the coil pack like that. Do that a little bit. You might not be able to see very well, but it is all around down in there. So when you push it onto the spark plug, it is not sticking fast when it comes time to taking it back off. And that's why they're bolt-on Coilpacks. You'll watch that one slowly pop up. So I'm gonna run these down real quick. Again, this isn't totally recommended, but it is another thing that genuinely helps. And because I have this shop towel here laying over the intake holes, I did very lightly, my air compressor is set to 60 psi right now, even though it's maxed out at 175, I have it set at 65. And I very lightly blew out them holes, just for anything that may or could have fallen down in there from the work I am doing. Because as you see, you're rubbing against dirty parts like that, and things can ultimately rub off and fall down in. If you want to do that, then say, okay, that just ensures to me that we are getting what we need down in the hole. Where our lubrication is getting where it needs to go, whatever you want to say. Now I'm just going to simply throw these screws in here. Just for now to hold them coils down, hold the boots pressed down, whatever you may want to say, so nothing does fall in. Because ultimately, whether it is your car, your friend's car, your mom's car, in this case, the wife's car, this one doesn't want to get right, so simply try another one. Knees are hurting a little bit there on that angle, so look at that, try a different bolt, and it just went right down in like there was nothing to it. Then we're going to keep moving on, folks. Sorry to bore you. I will do my best to speed up what I can in this video to save you all some time. These ones I'm just going to go ahead and screw down in as I put them in. There we go. While you're doing this, you're slightly thinking about your next steps. If you're not a multitasker, don't worry about it. Get to it when the next step occurs. But if you can multitask, by all means do it. I somehow, genuinely, naturally, whatever you want to say, always multitask. It's not for everybody, but it doesn't matter because either way, whether you're thinking about your next step while you're doing this one, you're only doing one thing at a time because you're in the reassembly process. So you want to go one step at a time, because when you don't, that is usually when things happen. Run them down until they stop. And then we will tighten them up a quarter inch with the ratchet. We are not going to torque these down. Even though I believe, don't quote me on it. Please do not quote me on it. I'm not a professional mechanic. I just try my best to do everything I do as professional as possible, or as perfectly as possible, because that's how I am. But I do believe these ignition coil packs, whatever you want to say, I do believe the hold down bolts are 18 foot-pounds of torque. Again, do not quote me on it. But that's that. They're tightened down. Oh, don't want debris down in here. See that? Back in there. Get this garbage out of here. Now we will just start with plugging our coil packs back in one by one. As far as having them in a sequential order, I do not believe it matters. But those are a bugger to get on there. And that does happen with these new coil packs because they're just replacements. But I'm sure you can hear them clicks on there. They're very distinctive and very strong. Then you push your safety pins up, make sure they're all locked up in. Good to go. Do the same in front here. Yep, that one's on. That one's on. And that one's on. Push a cute little bit of safety tabs, pins, whatever. Push them up, lock them in. Check over all of your work one time. Make sure everything looks kind of the way it's supposed to. Go ahead and pull your cute little hold down tool off there. When you remove these, try and remove them all one way or the other to prevent any dirt from rolling in there. Just roll your tarp or cover back over. We're going to get a slight piece of cloth here. Just going to dry this lip up a little bit all the way around here. I'm going to use a different part of the rag every time, just because that's how I am. Now ultimately, if this had like silicone or TV, some sort of gasket sealing on like that, you would see me scraping it off. But the fact that there's none here and they are just rubber gaskets, nothing is melted to it, we are able to just wipe it off so easily like such. Nice clean surface. And that is what you want. Now we'll go ahead and replace some gaskets and y'all can watch. Now, I just wanted to fast forward that part because it was probably going to be slow. But your new gasket seals, whatever you want to say, they will have a little tab on the top of them, kind of directional. It really is self-explanatory. Now, everything is honestly pretty clean here on this car, so we're just going to go ahead and toss these new ones back in and throw it in the car. Metaphorically speaking, that is. We're not going to throw it. Probably wouldn't last too long if we did. These gaskets kind of place themselves, once you get them started, they kind of just place themselves where they need to go. And that's that. You can give them a little push down just to make sure they don't fall out. Okay. Now, we're going to wrestle this bear back on down in here. Really, it's not a bear. It's not that hard at all, but it can be a bugger sometimes, depending on how you're going about it. That's what I'm talking about. It can be a bear sometimes. You always got this little screw back here. It's going to try and mess with you too and throw you off place. Biggest thing you're looking for when you drop that intake manifold down on there is, come closer and I'll show you. Now the biggest thing you're looking for when you put this intake manifold back on there is them 3 green tabs for the start of them gaskets like I was showing you. Do you want help, Jim? Anywho, as I was saying, the main thing when you put your intake back on is making sure those green tabs are still facing forward, as that indicates your gaskets stayed in place and they did not fall out down into your intake inside the motor. I always happen to make it a habit of double checking my work before I bolt things together. Because once it's together, it is together, and it's going to be a pain in the arse to take it back apart, all because you didn't double check your work. So that's why I try and stress that all the time. Pushing the car back for me, buddy.
Am I silly?
You are, buddy.
I like pushing the car.
Do you? So I will always throw my bolts in, starting by hand. A couple threads, couple turns, whatever. Make sure they're in the hole properly and seated before you throw the impact on it and wind them down. Because once you're cross-threaded, you have a problem. And it's never a good problem when you have something cross-threaded on the motor. Another 1/4 inch. Go back to the 3/8.
So, Dad,
What, big guy?
what do you want to do?
We're going to finish putting Mommy's car back together. And the fun part of doing that job is taking it for the test drive and make sure it works right.
You better do a spun out.
No, not in Mommy's car.
Why?
Mommy wouldn't like that. Would you, Mama?
No.
You notice I started on one corner and went to the other, tightening these down just so that way everything is seated properly. You don't just go tightening it one side to the next and have things or your gasket in there improper. Because you do not want your gasket improperly seated, as in, well, then you will have a problem. Now we're just slowly putting everything back together as we took it apart. Make sure your hoses are where they need to be, nothing stretched further than it should be.
Keep going. Keep moving.
Don't want to go too strong with them. You want to make sure they're tight. Now we're going to go back to the RPT torque socket. Oh, it hit the floor. It's a plus. Yep. I don't know if that one hit the floor though. Well, we got one of them two bolts back. so that was a bear, but it is in there now. And this is another reason that this magnet is one of my best friends out here. There's that lost bolt. No, right down in the same spot we just got it from. Yes, it is. This is the never-ending, not so fun part of what we do. Now, see if we can get out of from a different angle. Okay. Oh man, this extension is not helping me at all. It is so floppy. Okay. Let's see what we can do with our ratchet. That is just an outstanding spot to have a screw. The way that hose clamp is,
Mom,
you can't get anything out there.
the two dice. One and two. Mom, give them both one.
So, we had to tackle this a little bit offhand here with the pliers. It's not working so great, but we're getting there slowly. We have to move this hose clamp. It is just somehow, some way in the way. I don't know how, but just where it is placed, it's not conveniently working for us. So we gotta try and move it. Technical difficulties, folks. Stay tuned. We are working to getting this bug out together here. Using ultimately what we have to our advantage now that I had bolted that down. And we'll see what we can do with some adjustable pliers. Yeah, that is a bear, guys, for sure. Let's see if we can get the pistol grip hose clamp pliers on here, whatever they technically call these. See if we can get this off one time. Alright, now I got that locked in there so it can't. Okay, just simply want to move it up to the top like that so it is not in the way of either one of them torque screws. That makes it easier on me putting this one back in. And I'm sure it'll make it easier on the next guy that has to get in here and mess with it because, like I said, that was a bear, guys. Let me see which way my ratchet is here. It's in the opposite. Okay. Alright, that one is in there. As far as it'll go, I believe. That's taken care of. Now we can start by putting our air hoses back on slowly. Move this out of the way a little bit so you can see. We want to get that bolt tightened down quick because we don't want to forget about anything. Not real tight, but tight enough that we know it's not going to go nowhere. So, I'm going to wiggle jiggle this here down on in. That side. Hold that side in. Push that side on. Push that side on. Pop your little fancy clip down in. We'll go back here and push that hose on. Get our trusty hose clamp pliers. Once again, I moved this hose clamp to the top earlier so it's easier for me to get at. Which I forgot. This was the one that my pliers weren't clamped tight enough on. See if we can get these pistol grips in here from Icon. These are pretty nice pliers. I do have to say so myself. That's another reason as to why they're decent. Except they're not working in that situation there. So we'll go with the these ones again. We do have very, very limited hand space here. So that's the real bugger is doing that. And I'm 6'3". Sadly, I don't have a lift here, so I'm doing all this bending over the car at my knees, which gets to be a bugger sometimes. Not sure why this hose clamp does not want to move. Wow. In a later video, we have to get down in there, of course, to do our, I'm not sure what they want to call it, coolant wide pipe, coolant return pipe, etc. And once we do, we will be replacing that, I guess they call them tensioner clamps, whatever, so they constantly are holding tension on that hose the whole time they're there. Everything looks good. I do believe we will start tossing stuff back together. In a later video, we will get some other parts in. You'll see that. Obviously, it'll premiere, so everybody's going to see it. Once again, we want to clean up our mating surfaces here. These really should not be dirty. Just going to go around that once quick just to make sure there's no dirt on it. Clean that little piece of dirt out of there. As always, you want to get your bolt started. Do not want to tighten down like I almost did there. Just so you know everything's straight, everything's lined up, not cross-threading no holes, etc., etc., etc. There's a little wiggle back and forth movement there. Kind of want to try and center it the best you can with your eyes. Doesn't have to be anything near perfect, but you just want it to be somewhat centered. And you can go ahead and tighten down your bolts. Okay, they're tightened down. Make sure your little plastic red safety tab is back. Push it down, lock it on. Ooh, my knees. That's what happens when you're bending over these cars so much. I guess we ultimately did not need to pull that tab off, but we did. Here and there, we did. Always make it a habit to double check over your work. Love doing that. I'm a fan of doing that. Put that hose back on. Make sure everything's squared away here. Drop that down in there. Drop that down in there. I guess it decided to pop on. Once again, you have your little lock in place hose clamps there. Slide them a little bit to the right. Don't want to go cock strong with your hose clamps. I'm going to make sure they're tight, not going nowhere. Really want to double check. You can give them a slight pull like that. Make sure everything's firm feeling. And you're just going to start putting everything back together like that. Wow, I guess you could say that the light died at a perfect time. Or it couldn't have died at a more perfect time. Just want to check over everything one time, make sure everything was squared away, good to go. If this was a customer's car rather than the wife's, I would be putting my signatures white or silver, white or gold paint marker on these studs. Everything that I would have taken off the manifold there, or the manifold itself, or the intake and yeah, I would have put some for Sharpie on there to know when or if anything ever would have moved. So there it is, it's back together. If this video was any sort of interest to you and it helps you whatsoever, please like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot more than you may realize. Eurotech Matt, like, subscribe, share. Autotech Matt, like, subscribe, share. That's the business page, is Autotech Matt. And the YouTube is Eurotech Matt, I do believe. I know it's sad, I don't know my YouTube name sometimes. But I hope this helped. It may be a little longer than expected, taking it apart and putting it all back together. But for filming purposes, I took a little extra time to show you what and how I would have done it and how I did do it. So there it is, 2008 Ford Taurus Limited. That is a 3.5 liter coil pack and spark plug change. I do believe, don't quote me to it, but I do believe it's like a 2007 to 2011 is the years, somewhere in there. I believe this would all be the same. Or if the 3.5 motor is the same as the one pictured here, it will be ultimately the same as this video. So like, subscribe, let me know anything different in the comments, let me know your 2 cents. This is an open channel, so I don't mind hearing it. You gotta be careful what you say. Now if the updates, they do flag or just take away and remove any comments that are, I guess, sensitive. So there it is. Leave a comment below on your 2 cents. Let me know what you think. I hope this helps you guys. Yo Tech Matt out.